This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is a poor substitute for therapy, but an excellent substitute for other podcasts.
We're not like other podcasts.
Join us as we find the answers to the universe's biggest questions like, is butter a carb? Does crying burn calories? And what the fuck am I doing with my life? We're here to be your part-time therapist, astrologer, concierge doctor, and fairy godmother. Do you need someone to validate you today? Cool. Come on in. We're fine. This is fine. My loves, happy 2024. I am so excited to kick off the new year with you beautiful souls, and so is Shannon. We are here today on the January 11th portal, 111, with a spiritual and cosmic download from our moon mama for the year ahead. We haven't yet delved into the world of numerology, but get excited. We're doing that too. And as Shannon says, it's an even easier tool to use than astrology. So that's going to be fun. I'll let her break down all of the above and give you the forecast on the energies of this year, 2024. Let's get into it. Okay, yay, Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are recording remotely from Paris and San Diego. Both of us are recording on our own. Shannon, thank you so much for the gift of your time and for setting up your own personal home studio today.
This is great. I have MacGyvered my office. This is great.
We miss you, Dan. Thanks for editing this episode for us. Shannon, I'm so excited about today's topic because as everyone is listening now, if you're listening on the day of publishing, it is January 11th, the 111 portal. Should we just dive in? Do you want to tell everyone what that means?
Yes, let's dive in. Part of what kind of got us to do this episode, I think we were both finding things out, in the mass world of information, the 111 and do your manifestation for, wealth and partnership and all those things. And basically
lots of TikToks.
Lots of TikToks. Yeah. I don't know TikTok, but I've seen it on all the things. And so of course I'm, a mystical person, but I'm also kind of science oriented in that it's well, let's look at the full numerology of the day, not just the 111, but the full numerology of the day and also the astrological offering of the day. And so what I would love to offer is not counter, but just taking that same energy, that dynamic energy of, if you're thinking about manifestation and bringing these things in, but turn it inward. Because we're not at the point quite yet where things we're sending out will necessarily land outside of us.
Okay.
We're still working inside.
Ooh, okay. This is a good take because a lot of what we're seeing is manifest, bring things into you from the outside world. So this is flipping it a little bit.
It's flipping it. Literally, that's what we're doing. And really in looking at the whole offering of the year, what's nice is we'll do this 111 today as we're talking about it, but also kind of break down the numerology year. That's what's great. I love that we've never done this before. Just
first time doing numerology.
Yes, on the year, because we all are under the energy of that universal number starting January 1st. We went into a 26/8 year. And I'll break down what the 26 means in a minute, but we can kind of look at it in terms as 8. And so that's kind of like the over energy, the governing energy. And then I will, break down with you what 26/8 means. And by the way, just simplifying, it just means 2 + 6 = 8. There are many ways we can come to the number 8. We can say 17, 1 + 7 = 8, or the opposite, the inverse, 62, 8. And each one of those numbers offers different energy, different wisdom. It's kind of like when we're looking at an astrological chart and we're never going to get the whole energy or the purest detailed energy from just the sun is in this sign. There's all these other energies underneath. And so what I love about today, this 111 energy, it does break down to an 11 when we put 111 with the number 2024. So,
love that.
there's a lot of ones. So, just here, what is one? It's you. It's the individual. It's the individual within yourself. And I look at 11. 11 just is that, it's that first master number. And so what master numbers are, they're just really intensified expressions of the base number, meaning if we add 1 plus 1, it equals 2. We don't reduce it because it's pure. It has that
a double,
1, 1.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking at, it being an 11, is the sort of magic offered to us on this day when we focus, when we fine tune what it is we're working on. It will answer probably more purely when you're thinking in terms of you and your spirit, your spirituality, you to yourself. So even when I say you to yourself, I don't even mean that lower part of yourself, but that, like, whether we want to call it higher self, inner self, you coming from your purest state of being, connecting in with, if you believe in angels or teachers, guides, whatever.
Sure do.
Your spirit, whatever that is. Because you could be an atheist, but you still have like an inner being, that a part of you that kind of governs. I think that an atheist would still believe in consciousness, so it's.
I hope so.
But I'm on the angel track myself. Yeah, we're
for sure.
But I'm just saying, nobody's left out here because this is the thing. The energy is the energy. It's not looking at our belief systems, but it does offer on a nature level. So it's looking to help us evolve, expand, sort of like check in with what are our goals? What are we wanting to do? So that's something that I'm looking at, that like today we can set intentions for ourselves to come, either from the purest place, or what is the best thing for me? What do I need to feel whole without the addition of something outside of myself?
Okay. I love this concept.
And look at all the ones. It's like, it's so loud.
Yeah.
1, 1, all reducing to 1, 1 to an 11. So what we have within this, and then the 2024 is an 8. It's at, 26, 8. And so what we have within this is 8 is a manifestation. So we'll break down 8 as well. But just to kind of get today, it's like a good day to sort of check in with yourself, really check in with even that concept of like, what do you think is going to make you whole? As far as, again, like your attitude, this is going to be a year theme, by the way, looking at our attitudes towards money, towards possessions, wealth, like, does it own you? Do you put more meaning on things outside of yourself? Do they have more value? And so, again, I'm not saying we can't work to bring things in, but we're in sort of like a fast track, which we will do a whole episode just on the astrology, of the coming year.
Coming soon.
We'll do that in studio, which hopefully will be better quality. Like we were saying of this, it deserves a studio setting.
Studio production.
Studio production 2024, the astrology edition. But anyways, so we kind of have like some thematic governing energy, and it would be nice to say, this is the year it all comes into alignment and we figure it out. And really what I'm looking at with the numerology, the astrology, and the year of the dragon, because we have all these big archetypal energies joining, we're kind of, it's about, for me, I'm looking at, we're moving into balance within a world of polarity. That is what the year is. That's the theme. If I name the year, that's my title for 2024 because it is active. Eights are very active. Dragons are active. And when we go into the astrology on a bigger level, we're going to take a look. Fire is a big theme next year. Fire is where, for the most part, all the Mercury retrogrades are. So this is where, we're going back, okay, let me take a look at that, surveying. We have also some air going on with it. I'm trying so hard not to go into the
astrology.
I can't help it. But I'll just say too,
we'll allow it.
the air as well. Pluto is making a significant shift.
Right.
And that's another thing of this today, 111, we are about 9 days out from Pluto making its move into Aquarius, which is air. What does air do to fire? Makes it bigger. Jupiter's going to move into Gemini.
Speaking of expansion.
Yes, exactly. So it's sort of like energy is going to get really big. And it's going to be very important for us to know how to pull into our center and maintain our center within a lot of energy being offered to us, a lot of moving parts, because even it is interesting, right? That too, it's just dawning on me that we're in this year of the dragon starting. We don't have that until, I think it's February 9th. I should have checked beforehand. I believe it's February 9th. Year. Yes, the new moon in Aquarius. I think it's 20 degrees Aquarius. I could be wrong.
You're probably right.
But I know it, I believe it's February 9th. So then we move into another level of octane upgrade of moving up. But the dragon, the nodes. So our nodes right now through this whole year are Aries, fire, Libra, air. So there's more fire and air, even with the dragon, with the concept of the dragon. So we have, again, we can kind of see a big theme being painted, right?
Yeah, fire breathing. This is crazy.
Fire breathing. This is it, fire breathing. And luckily the dragon year is wood, which is nice. It tempers. It has a tempering of that dynamic energy of dragon, which is, and by the way, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so wood would be the Chinese medicine element of the year?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, just want to clarify that. Okay, cool.
No, thank you. I need to be more specifying. But yes, that's the element because it's a different element. It takes, there's math with that too. We could do a Chinese New Year episode too, but the wood dragon comes around every 60 years. It's a 60-year cycle. So we haven't had that for 60 years.
For a hot minute.
And so that it's nice because, again, dragon in general can be very large, very intense, and very, just thinking ahead, it is as we move into election year.
Oof.
We have we can have egos flaring under dragon energy, but luckily the wood kind of tempers that and is more willing to do what is for the betterment of the people. And I'm not saying our politicians will be doing that, but this is where I come back to today and how we can focus of what's being offered to us this year is us, our consciousness, where we're coming from. Are we coming from what is for the betterment of the whole, but being centered within ourselves? It's a tricky little balance, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the nodal balance with Aries and Libra too, and not to keep bringing astrology back into it, but the individualism of Aries and the balance of relationships and the other with Libra.
Yes, and you are officially an astrologer, Dominique, because you can't help it, right?
Can't help it.
But this is the thing; these things are not separate, and they all fit.
Right.
They
it's a recipe.
It all in. And this is how we are able to. There's one level of making predictions, but the other, I'm trying to use this year as more of an energetic offerings that I can utilize personally to evolve myself or to be better, to be more fit for what is coming. Because, okay, here we go again, astrology. That's the other thing. If like on a planetary level, even though Pluto is moving into Aquarius, so a big outer planet changing signs. That's a big deal astrologically. When outer planets change signs, it just kind of sends a different ambient tone into the collective. And we have, starting basically now through 2025, the 3 outer planets all changing signs. That's pretty close together, because Neptune will move into Aries and Uranus will move into Gemini. And think about that. That's fire and air, right?
Yep.
That will have a tone for, Neptune will be 14 years, Pluto's like 20, and Uranus is 7. But that's setting the stage, right? That's when we're going to see everything, by the way. That's when we're looking at, okay, now there it is. We know what the container looks like. We're choosing if we look at it as far as like, okay, the timeline is on the tracks.
Okay.
And up until that point, that's why I don't want to fritter away this year. Because I think some good things can come in too, but I want to be able to ground myself so that when things really change and shift, I know I'm clear and I'm not going to get swept up in all the energy, because we are guaranteed that. We are guaranteed possibly being swept up in things. And there may be, I don't want to be pessimistic, but we may have a few events just because it's a lot of energy. It just if anybody went, to chemistry in high school or college, you have the chem lab, and, you get too many chemicals that, individually are fine, but then you put them all together and you can have an explosion, It's like too much of some
Mentos
things.
and Diet Coke. They're fine on their own.
That's right. And they were so hard. They seem so harmless on their own.
I know.
Exactly.
So innocent.
It's so innocent, but it can be like that where you get too many things together. So, and here's the other good thing about fire and air is that, it goes quickly, right? We've learned that.
Right.
Fire and air. Earth and water take a long time to undo, which, okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Sorry if this is jumping. Something I want to say about the 8-year. This is true if it's your own personal year, because we go through personal years, right? We each will be in a year. Whenever we have our birthday, our cycle changes. Just like you get a solar return, you get a new numerology cycle. And so this works for us when we personally go into an 8-year, or when we universally go into an 8-year. So we're all experiencing this 8-year that we want to go back 4 years. So it's what was set in motion in the 4-year. So that was 2020.
Not a big deal at all.
It's
just a casual year.
We get our progress report.
Okay.
And the 8-year. So, and by the way, that doesn't mean progress report. That, as I said it, it sent a shrill through my body like, uh-oh, mind trouble. I don't mean it that way. It's literally like from benevolent teachers, like, oh, let's check in with where you are. Where is your mind? What do you allow into your, what do you really care about? Where do you want to put your efforts? It's like that. That's more of what I think, we're kind of looking at. But
does that count for anyone who is like a personal 8, or is this just for people who are in an 8-year? Like I myself actually am in an 8-year. So is this a little bit more intense, or would it be even more intense if someone was a personal 8, or do personal numbers not matter at all at this point?
So absolutely personal numbers can matter when, if you are going into an 8-year during an 8, it means you track with universal timing. And I always look at people who do that. I have the same, on my birthday, I will go into an 8-year. I was born, when you're born on that year, that is that number, like with your birth numbers, you need your birth numbers to add to the birth year. You will always be tracking with what's going on collectively. And
okay,
I do,
so kind of
like
in
I
tune
said,
with like the universal energy.
Yes, and that's why I say, oh, you're a universal being. Like you're one who who can connect in with the collective and what their needs are. You know, I think that this is just a very good year for you, Dominique, and I think everyone would concur for you to really like focus on this podcast. We are so happy that you live in Paris and you're living your dream, but it's like, okay, let's
give us the content
plugged in. Because
give us that content.
Give us that content. Like, because you do, being that 8 cycle that you're in, and the universal, the energy's matched up.
Okay.
And it matched up. If you're in your 8 year right now, that means you started your 8 year last year.
In September. Right. Okay.
So it's been perfect. You moved, you've gotten settled, and now you're getting to work. You probably felt that January 1st. I imagine you had an immediacy of like, oh God, okay, what am I going to do? I need to do this.
How did you know?
Because it would just be a line like that universal energy calling you.
Yeah, there's a big shift. Totally. And I guess if anyone else is in the same boat, like you have already turned into your 8 year or your 8 year is coming up, I will actually leave notes in the show description so you can figure out what personal year you are in based on your birthday and your birth year. So if you're confused about what that means, don't worry, that will be in the show description too.
Right. And that's a thing. You know, you might be in a, like say you're in a 1 year. You're starting fresh energy. You know, we can do that. You even have my material from the class, right? You could just put each year. Just throw that in there. How to calculate. Okay. It's super easy to calculate. You can do it. We can all do it. We have fingers. We have to use your fingers to count. You can do it.
Just do it in your mind.
Just do it in your mind. And so people who will probably track easier would be those who are in a 1 cycle, like the 1, the 3, and the 8 kind of all have 5. Okay. 1, 3, 5, 8 would be the energies I would think, as far as like, okay, I am really going to work on accomplishing something either on a minor scale or a big scale, whatever it is, whatever that means to you. But it would be easier for those people to be able to work. Their cycle will be in harmony with flow and getting out there. The ones, and not to say if you are in a 2, 4, 4s are going to, here's the thing. If you're in a 4 year, in the 8 year, it can be challenging, but it's the best challenge. It's the best. I want you to embrace it and accept that, oh my gosh, I'm being handed opportunities to really undo things that I've always had such a hard time doing, whatever blocks. Because the block will come up in your face, but you will be offered tools to, let's just deal with this. We're going to move this through. So it can seem like it's the hardest, but really it's the best. Like you can accomplish, because here's the thing. It isn't like a Pluto energy where sometimes it doesn't matter what you do in a Pluto cycle. Like it's like just, okay, just resistance is futile. You just have to go through it. Where with what we're talking about, this 4-8 concept of you just don't, it's Saturn in that Saturn doesn't punish. If you do the work, you get rewarded, period.
Right.
Super easy.
Right. Okay.
And then the 6, and then who else am I missing? Oh, 7. Yes.
Or
7. 9. Or 9. The 6 is just like, if you're in a 6 year, you really are organizing like your emotional health, 6 is family, it is love. If you don't have a partner, it's probably a really good year to put in self-love so that you have that same fire for yourself that you want someone else to have for you. That's how I would look at that if you're a 6 in a 6.
That's beautiful. Okay.
And those are relationship laws, right? Like
Right.
until the quality of who shows up for us is always equal to what the quality of how we feel about ourselves. And I don't mean ego level. I mean like true inner how you feel about yourself. So if
I don't know if I like what you just said.
so there's some
I'm kidding.
No.
Kidding.
But that's it. Like when you're trying to figure stuff out, it's sometimes that simple.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're getting the little check engine lights from the universe, like
Yes.
sprinkled into our relationships.
Now, people who are in their 7 or 9 year, I'm a little envious. In that, well, I guess, no, next year I'll go into it. That's right. I'm in 7 right now. So I'll get the 7 with it all the way until my birthday.
Ooh,
so I'm envious
little sprinkle of 7.
Look, self-love.
I love that for you.
Why, thank you. I envy myself. This is great because this segues me to kind of what I want to go into considering of how we work with this, moving into balance within a world of polarity, which is instead 8 is such an action out launching. If we're dealing with polarities, it is more yang, masculine, active. And when I say masculine and feminine, I just mean on the polarity of action. Feminine being receptive, it has nothing to do with gender. So if that slips out,
right.
that's what I'm referencing. And so we're pretty good. Like there's going to be a lot of energy going out. So I challenge people, and this is where the 7 and the 9s will have an easier time or could get a lot accomplished with focusing on being receptive.
Ooh, okay. Get ready to receive.
Get ready to receive. Like, even if it's receiving information, receiving, if you're a controlling person, so controlling people might feel challenged this year because that is the 8 energy. 8's
right,
like
the
to
power.
be in control. The power, and it is one of the hyper controlling.
Could we actually talk about the themes of 8? Like, let's just talk about 8 in numerology. I think that would be really helpful for listeners.
So again, 8 is power. Like if I do it really clearly, and 26, 8 in particular, it's interesting because balance is one of the key words.
Love it.
But it is responsibility. Power is big. Authority. Being dependable, organized. But it's one of the, like, it's a manifesting number. But so this is another thing to say to the people, like, I want to manifest this and that. Manifestation will come in at the level you're at. If you are disorganized in your throwing things out, you're going to get a lot to undo. I mean, this is what I'm looking at in time and how planets are right now. And we are evolving. Like, I think we can all say it. Even the most not pay attention to cycles person would admit time feels different. Things are different. It feels different right now. And it has a lot to do with we're having to upgrade. Like, we're having to evolve right now. And so what happens is a lot of our manifestations come back quicker. Like the things we're thinking, we get a visual or experiential reflection of that, more quickly than usual. That's why 8 is a karmic number. So, and if anyone's ever heard me speak before, when I say karma, I don't mean you're a bad person. I just mean you're literally what energy are you putting out? The law of karma is just that you experience your own energy, period. That goes in both directions. And just like what you've contracted to do. So we're having to really experience our own energy is what the theme of this year is. So when I say experience our own energy, I mean, like if we say something to somebody and it wasn't the nicest thing, and then we're upset because somebody, 3 days later said something back. If we're in that receptive state of mind, reflective state of mind, we can go, oh my gosh, okay, I get it. I put that energy out. Right. And now I'm having to experience that back. Okay, all good. And then we move on. We don't have to spend time in it. If we're talking behind somebody else's back and then you find out somebody's talking behind your back, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Can I really say anything? I can't get upset. I'm doing the same thing. It's like that. That's what I mean, too, with little, like on a bigger cosmic, progress report. It's not negative. It's not punishment. It's awareness. Okay. And so 8 comes in as a very strong, like we experience what we have put out. And that's, again, like going back to the 4-year, whatever we were putting out in 2020 is kind of like we see the result of that. And that works in a really good way too, because I think although people got crazy, there were some really pure moments. I felt like, maybe at the beginning, even if people were crazy, they were more compassionate and loving towards people. So true. Having awareness, and maybe people who didn't think outside of themselves, as far as like, I'm going to do what's good for me. It was a sudden, there are other people to take in. I'm going to be nice with this person. Their friend is sick, or they are sick, or whatever it is on whatever level, so totally. There were really good things that I think people clicked in for the first time that is really positive. And so that may come in this year, that you have that awareness. Again, we're evolving, right? So we have a broader look at life. I know this is turning serious. I didn't mean for this to go serious.
It's an 8-year, okay?
But that's 8. And then and another literal key signature of 26-8 is the principle of giving and receiving. So you see how we can't get away from it. There's no getting away from the polarities. We have to be receptive as well as be active. So those who are are a little more on the reserve side, it's like a really good year to put yourself out there. Blossom. And like I said, we're getting all these opportunities to self-check, to check in with ourselves. Okay.
So it's like a check engine light kind of year.
It's a check engine light. Yes. And not worrying. It's okay. I think that's the other thing, is being able to accept that we F up sometimes, and it's okay. You can do something different. I think there's more people that are hard on themselves than easy on themselves.
Sounds very Virgo to me.
It's very Virgo. And also, though, what are we putting out right now? I didn't even want to go down this road, but we'll just say the concept of cancel culture. We are living in a world, I think that could possibly catch up to us this year. Even the people interesting to see. Who super heavily I think we'll see more. It might intensify, but then they may begin to be the recipient of the canceling, of the lack of nuance, the lack of compassion. They might, it's all great when you think you're on that team that's we're canceling you
morally
because
superior.
You're a piece of crap. Morally superior. That's literally when someone has an 8 soul number, that's it right there. That is what they're learning. They're
interesting.
They are working through the principles of feeling superior to others.
Okay. And we will break down the soul numbers too in a different episode. Shannon and I are going to do a whole numerology breakdown, your soul number, your life path number, your name number, everything. And then you'll be able to figure out, okay, if you have no idea what we're talking about, you'll learn exactly who you are, what your numbers are, and then you'll be able to integrate this a little bit more easily as well.
Yes, and it's so much easier to do than astrology.
Yes.
It's way more, what's that quick? Instant gratification. More instant gratification with really potent, powerful intel about yourself that to me can be equally profound is what you're going to find out astrologically about yourself. So
cool.
Yes, there's another theme, I guess we could say, of that concept of feeling superior to others for whatever it is. Whether it's, the 8-year could have that economic side, but I think it's more like, because we have a lot of fire and air. So fire is also, we look at as that like spiritual fire. That's where righteousness can come in, where it's that, my beliefs are superior to your beliefs. And what is air? We have a lot of air. It's literally our thoughts. It's our concepts. And in some of it is like what I would... Like, I have to work on this. I'm not saying this from any place of feeling like I'm mastered at all. I work on this on a daily basis. That even the things that I am so disgusted and horrified by, it's not all or nothing, right?
Right. It's not black and white binary.
Exactly. I mean, nothing. That's a rule. That's a law. That's a universal law. Those are the extreme things. But there might be something that I'm missing in the voice of the person that I don't care for, or I don't like all of your ideology, but you may have a good point about this. Like, I know I might be getting, I feel metaphoric daggers being flung at me for saying that. And I'm not talking about just politics or anything. I'm speaking in life. Like, do you really think cosmic force could give a crap about politics? No, it's about us. It's about the measuring of where our heart is. Where's our heart? And just looking to help us bring... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, you were saying all this stuff about reception and being receptive. And now you're talking about being more receptive to even ideas from people that you don't necessarily agree with, but you're still softening into that receptive energy.
Yes, because we're in trouble. We are in trouble if we cannot speak to, look at, be in the same room as somebody that has differing opinions. Because if you keep breaking it down, I mean, we're all individual. Like, we're all going to end up isolated on an island. Like, if you play those rules, if you live by those rules, like, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, you're choosing to live by that rule, so we're going to show you what that looks like. That's what universal flow is doing to us. Did that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. I don't know. That seems abstract and out there. And you want to know something, too. I wanted to bring this up, that coming back to today, I wish I'd said this at the beginning, 111, what 111 is, like when you see that number out in the world, like, ooh, 111, it means you are in harmony and balance with some area of your life, and it's enhancing whatever level that you're experiencing. So it's like we can do that for ourselves. We can consciously do that. But isn't that interesting? Harmony and balance. Those are both words. Oh, here's another concept. Duh. Like 8. 8 is a cube, like Metatron's cube. Like it's a solid structure, right? We've got that offered to us as well. So like, just what are we cubing? And to not go so far out there, God, that could be another, I don't know if your listenership would fly in a spaceship with us, but it's like even that, like, high level spiritual energy and like sacred geometry, and being able to really, that's how I'm looking at this year, of really being able to create your own, like, toolbox when you go out of balance, what works for you to come right back into alignment so that you can ride bigger currents that are being offered, that will be in a few years, without getting taken off course. This is why, to me, like, the concept of enemy patterning is just, not going to go well in the bigger scope. I'm not saying we don't hold those accountable for, like, if there is misaligned treachery, like, that needs to be held accountable. Right. But trying to decide everybody's consciousness, their worth based on,
Right.
what you decide the
Culpability.
punishment is, or
Right.
or just what another person is looking at it from a different angle. They don't have your brain. They're not taking in
Right.
everything you have. So it's like that. So we're able to sort of kind of level up this year.
Okay.
So this is what I think would be beneficial, is for people to not just, look at your outer exterior world, look at your, what is imbalanced outside of yourself that you wish you had, challenge yourself to develop it for yourself. Well, how could I do that for myself? Where can I show up for myself in this? What could I do? Why, if, like, say you're in a dead-end job and you don't know what else to do, it's, instead of complaining about it, what can you do to shift that? To either be okay in it or move on from it. Those things.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Take control of your life.
It kind of sounds like don't stay in a misery of your own making. Like if you have the capacity to change your circumstance, change your circumstance.
Yes. And then I will take that a step farther, and not if you have the capacity to change your circumstances.
Yes, okay.
There's always a place within your consciousness, even if that's my whole point, that it usually true harmony, balance, joy, fulfillment generates from the center out, not from the out into your center.
Right.
So
okay.
even if you have the worst, most horrible outer world circumstances, nobody owns your consciousness. You own your consciousness. You can still shift within it. There is still something you can do. And if you say, but I can't because it's so hard, it's like, it's called spiritual discipline. It's called discipline. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you may need to remind yourself over and over, these people do not own me. I own myself. Whatever it is that is within context of what it is. I have hope for what I can, create later, whatever it is that will take you out of it. Having some mantra, finding a mantra that really works for you, some statement, even a word, that has to do with you owning yourself. And because that's where, like, if things do go crazy on a, world global level, which it could, like, this is why I'm saying this, honestly, is we need to be fit within ourselves to be able to add beneficial energy into the conversation.
Into the collective, into the world.
Yes, exactly. Rather than causing more mayhem, more noise.
Yeah,
especially
part of the problem.
If you don't know anything, like, oh my God, I'm just waiting for Jupiter to go into Gemini in May. And then Uranus going to Gemini next year, where it's like, will you please be quiet? Well, we could, like, that, I would prefer that. Let's have a party. Let's work with the light energy. But please don't open your mouth unless you've actually vetted your source, or you've
your
gone,
information.
Like, and I don't mean vetting the source means, I Googled it. It's like, where did that information come from? And where did this, and then digest it.
Right.
You're not an expert. Hold on a minute. Digest it. Live it a whole moon cycle. At least give it a moon cycle.
Give it a moon cycle is such a good mantra.
And then let me hear what you have to say with it after you run it through your internal. Then, I know you thought about it instead of you took somebody else's thought and you just ran with it. You know what I mean? Like it's that's another thing happening. And
what we have to look forward to.
What we have to look forward to. But you know what? If we're all clear, then we're all choosing for ourselves. And hey, great. Like you could hear something said, like, I love new thought, new energy, coming from people that have anchored themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they're anchored in what they're doing, it could be a new thought, but there's a base in it. They have something, their roots are not shallow. So then, that's exciting to me, because we're going to have a lot of new offered. Like we haven't even talked about technology, but,
within the 8 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pluto moving into Aquarius
Huge.
I think we're going to see probably a lot of, patents, and it might be even patents that we're trying to be put through in the 2020 or FDA things where like it might finally see the light of day this year.
All right.
Things to advance, things of advanced, that's a Pluto Aquarius storyline too.
Cool.
Because here's the thing, Pluto will inch we're just not quite exactly there in Aquarius forevermore, well, for the next 20, but I think it's sometime in September through, I want to say mid-November. So there's this little window where it just like, again, I use the term progress report, where it's like, okay, now we're still getting, what did you do with this energy? Here's an opportunity to further refine it. That's how I look. That's a good word. Refinement. This is a year of refining our energy before we put it out.
Okay.
But then it moves into Aquarius, like for good, for a long time. And that's where we're going to see, technology is already crazy advancements happening faster than we can blink. So, and we don't even know what that is. Like, this is nothing. This is snail speed compared to what it's going to be. Which is why we need our consciousness fit.
All right. Cool.
For those who... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is something I feel like we should go really in depth in our year ahead astrology forecast too. Yes, exactly. And that, I'm going to put a way out there because it is 111 and coming to 11. So it is more of a spiritual year. No wonder all this stuff is coming out. I was trying to be light, Dominique. LOL.
I'm
LOL.
sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But if anybody who's aware of Atlantis and the concept of Atlantis is that technology evolved faster than their spiritual selves. And so that's why they destroyed themselves, because they weren't thinking in terms of, it was just technology. And exactly. I feel like, oh God, we could, we don't want to do that. We want to still have compassion in our heart, right?
Yeah.
They lost all compassion. And, we could look at, just even who gets the good technology, who doesn't get the good technology, it's for the betterment of the whole, that's
the collective.
The collective,
right.
What's
which is very
what's
Aquarius.
Best for all. Yeah.
Right.
So
for today,
it is
111 in this portal, when people are watching TikToks that are saying, do everything, go manifest, go call in all your stuff. You're saying, hold the F on for a second.
Yes.
Let's take today to go inward. We're moving into a different energy this year. Today is an 11 day, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got an 11 day, which is sort of double the energy of refining the self. Is that true?
Yes. Being aligned with self and spirit.
Okay. And we're doing all of these things, we're refining ourselves, we're getting right within our spiritual energy, our mental, emotional world, in order to move forward into some potentially crazy things that might be coming down the pipeline. You had suggested finding a mantra or a word to come back to. Would that be a good 111 portal activity for anyone listening today?
Yes, very much so.
Get into your word and keep in mind that this is a check your engine lights kind of year. You want to be self-accepting, not overthinking, moving into harmony and balance, and moving into balance in general in a world of polarity. I love that statement. I think that is going to be such a good theme for us.
And that's the only thing that's going to keep our nervous systems intact. It's not even, here's another level, not trying to remove the polarity. I'm not trying to remove anybody's voice either. We're all free to say, do whatever we want. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at our own self, that we don't get, that the individuals don't get pulled out of alignment. So exactly, moving into balance within a world of polarity.
I love this. I feel like this is such a great nugget, well, it's a big nugget of wisdom and a lot of information to process. Is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with in terms of the 8-year, today's numerology, the energy ahead, or anything else they can end their day with?
Just, I guess, to recap, just listen to the internal of your thinking, of your mind, because it is a manifesting year. So be aware of what you think. Be aware of where you're at, because you will probably be attracting that energy into your life. And so it's okay if we go off course, like we're human. But if you consciously, because that's the 8 is conscious manifestation. If you consciously focus on something else, and again, you focus on whatever you want, but if you're focusing on alignment with my greatest good, like that could be it. I'm in balance and in alignment with my greatest good and the greatest good of all. Then there's a trust factor, right? Especially to those who are control people.
Yeah, if you're a personal 8.
Yes. And that's what I mean by the receptive. Like then you can actually like receive, like that's the side that I think Western culture we haven't developed that yet. And we could even argue like, okay, this is where Western culture is in the place of, okay, we can now start developing the other side, not just the go, 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 the yang side, but the yin side.
Totally.
The regenerative side, the go in, the knowing we need just as much of that inward as we do outward.
Yes. I see this a lot on TikTok too, the soft girl energy. We want more softness. We want more of our divine feminine. So that's a trend I love.
That.
Yeah, I thought you might like it too.
TikTok,
only the ones I text you.
That's great. I love that. Like that's it. Like soft is not weak. I mean, we could go back in time, like in the original pantheon of the gods, goddesses, the sisters, the goddesses were equal in power to the gods, to their brothers. They were all equal and held their own. I mean, we have the vessel, right?
Yep. We are the vessel.
We are the vessel. If that's like and so it's not just in human bodies, it's and consciousness. You need a vessel to be filled. If you're just pushing energy out, nothing can come in. So, when we need the answer, you have to be soft and receptive. You receive it, and then you can act.
Soft Girl 2024.
Within a fiery year. But you might receive some some juicy stuff may come your way,
Yeah, I would love to receive some fire.
One order of fire on your way.
Order up. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. This was such a delight. I hope everyone listening just enjoyed this as much as I did, because I'm learning right alongside with you. Shannon, for those who want to learn more from you, understand their numerology, dive deeper into this world, where can we point them right now?
Moongathering.com. My Instagram is moongathering. Those are the places you can find me.
All right.
Definitely, I have some big courses coming out this next year.
Yes.
That I am trying to focus more on, like the goddess side
Beautiful.
of, rather than just the pure. Because I'm more of a mental person, honestly. I think I present more or identify more masculine energetically. And so, like I said, I have this 7. So I want to teach others how to do the same thing. And of course, we'll have numerology, astrology, tarot, and a lot of spiritual development this year for those who would like it. So
yes,
join our newsletter.
We're so ready. Oh, yes, newsletter. Okay, so we're linking to all this as per usual in the episode description. I will link to your resources for numerology, how to figure out what personal year you are in, and all of the hyperlinks so you can go find Shannon right now. Shannon, we love you. Thank you for blessing us with your time. It is, I say this every time, but I mean it so sincerely. It is such a gift that you share with us. Thank you.
Aw, thank you, Dominique.
Okay, so now you have some material to work with, some thoughts on the portal energy today. If manifesting is coming from your mind, your heart, your energy, your thoughts, then clean up those spaces, get your mind right, get your thoughts right. Go inward. So then when you decide on what you want to call in, it's all coming from the best possible place. Like I said, everything is linked in the episode description. You can calculate the numerology of your personal year, find your personal, like your number, your personal numerology number as well. And of course, get more information from Shannon, sign up for courses, and more. All right, so let's get ready for a year of more harmony and balance in a world of polarity, and get ready for Soft Girl 2024. Personally, a big fan of that. I love you all so much, my babes. More fun like this coming soon. A bientôt. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of This Is Fine. I've been your host, Dominique Michelle Astorino. We're based in San Diego, recording in studio at DLI Productions in Pacific Beach with Emmy Award-winning sound designer Dan De La Isla. This is a comedy and advice podcast, but for legal reasons, this entire podcast is a joke and none of it is medical advice. To download the transcript or learn more, visit thisisfinepodcast.com.